All right, so this is from the America, the Jesuit Review, not the first periodical I usually turn to, but
Right.
it says Vatican officially says no to controversial titles for Mary, co-redemptrix and mediatrix of all graces. I've read through this a little bit. I wanted to get your take on it.
Yeah. Now, in terms of Mary as co-redemptrix, the Vatican has said that and mediatrix of all graces are not very helpful.
Okay.
What is meant by that? Well, they mean that it requires a lot of unraveling, and it has led to a lot of confusion. Now, do I think that is true? Yeah, I think that a lot of our Protestant friends get confused when they hear co-redemptrix. They believe that we think Mary is literally another redeemer on the level of Christ, and it can cause confusion. But the one thing that I do want to note, Matt, is that the Vatican didn't condemn the theology behind that. Rather, they're saying that for the time being, it is prudential to avoid using those particular titles of Mary because they can lead to confusion. But the Vatican did not condemn the theology behind them.
Yeah, that's important to point out. I want to read paragraph 18.
Yes.
Some popes have used the title co-redemptrix without elaborating much on its meaning. Generally, they have presented the titles in two specific ways in reference to Mary's divine motherhood, insofar as she, as mother, made possible the redemption that Christ accomplished, or in reference to her union with Christ at the redemptive cross. The Second Vatican Council refrained from using the title for dogmatic, pastoral, and ecumenical reasons. St. John Paul II referred to Mary as co-redemptrix on at least 7 occasions, particularly relating this title to the salvific value of suffering when they are offered together with the sufferings of Christ. So that's important. It's not, from what I can tell, is not at all condemning.
Not at all.
Yeah, but it's saying right now it's more confusing. And this is in line, isn't it, with what Pope Benedict XVI said when he was pressed on the Fifth Marian dogma?
It really is in light of it. Now, when we ask, where can we lay out that Mary is co-redemptrix? Is it okay to even believe it? Now, what does it mean? Well, it very clearly means that Mary played a role in salvation history. But it doesn't mean she is another redeemer in the sense of, well, how is Christ the one redeemer? Well, only Christ and Christ alone could die on the cross for our sins. Nobody believes Mary died on the cross or could have for our sins at all. Rather, we believe Mary plays a role in salvation history, and she does so at her fiat. Let it be done to me according to thy word. And there are many early fathers that believe that as well. So the theology behind it is biblical and ancient. In fact, let me read the great St. Irenaeus, one of my favorite. In Contra Heresy says, as Eve, being disobedient, became the cause of death, both to herself and to the whole human race, so also Mary, being obedient, became the cause of salvation, both to herself and to the whole human race. That is in the 100s from St. Irenaeus. With that in mind, I don't think I have, I know I don't have any problems with the theology behind it. Because if the Bible can tell us St. Paul, can save, because Paul tells you that his preaching can save people. If we're told that in the Bible of other people, well, then definitely Mary played a role in salvation history as well. But do I think that the title can confuse our evangelical friends? I do. And I've encountered it, people being confused by it. But I want to reiterate the theology behind it was definitely not condemned.
So what does a Catholic take away from this? How should a Catholic modify his speech, if at all, when speaking of Mary as co-mediatrix?
Yeah, whenever they talk about Mary as mediatrix, co-redemptrix, they need to take in mind the Church has been very clear that at the time being, these titles are not helpful because they can lead to confusion. With that in mind, can we follow that up by saying the Church believes this can lead to confusion? But now it opens up dialogue for us to be able to look at, what does the Bible say about Mary? The theology behind it, is it biblical? And it opens up the door to being able to talk more about Mary from a biblical perspective, and to then being able to highlight the titles that the Church has affirmed that can be used. Mary is Panagia, All Holy, Theotokos, God-bearer. She's our Immaculate Mother Mary. But it gives us a wonderful opportunity to dive into the Bible and to look at what the Bible does say about Mary. And I'm going to tell you very clearly, for those that are out there, I know a few people said, William, I was really hoping for this to become a dogma. Well, don't be heartbroken, because the theology behind it is not condemned. I want to be very clear. The Church did not condemn that.
Let's keep saying that for people in the back.
We've got to keep saying that for them. The theology behind it and the theology present in it is not condemned. It is very biblical, very patristic. With that in mind, it is true that the title has confused a lot of people. And at the time being, the church has said it is not helpful. But the church nowhere condemned the title.
So a Catholic can not, of course, go on believing that Mary is mediatrix of all graces
Yes.
and co-redemptrix. And what about in your public speeches? Is this language that you think isn't condemned by this document? Were you to use it?
I don't think it is condemned, and I will continue to use it and be able to use it in an orthodox manner, laying out what the church really does believe. I don't think the church condemned using it in public dialogues or in discussions at all.
The one question I have, or that I'd like some clarity on, is any dogma that gets defined, not any dogma, but a lot of language that we use can confuse people.
Yeah.
That think of the hypostatic union and the Trinity and these sorts of things. And it wouldn't seem appropriate to say, well, because this can confuse people, we shouldn't be talking about it. Not that they're saying that. I get that. But so isn't that true of anything that we're going to define? It's going to confuse some people. Is the idea that there would be widespread confusion, or it wouldn't be received properly because of how language is used? And
Yeah, I think it's the idea of widespread confusion and for the time being, it not being helpful. Is it possible that will change? I think so. I think it's possible that as time goes by, the church may want to return to this, clarify it more in depth, and maybe say, okay, well, we're going to clarify this and we're going to come to the table and we're going to open up dialogues about this again. I think the door was left open for that.
do you think what was the reason for this being stated right now?
Yeah. I think a lot of people are pushing for a fifth Marian dogma. A lot of people are pushing for a fifth Marian dogma. And I think a lot of people remember the words of Pope Francis on this particular issue. They've been echoing in the back of people's minds for a while. People that have been pushing for a fifth Marian dogma wanted to hear, okay, where does Pope Leo stand here? And I think Pope Leo wanted to give clarity in this particular issue. This is where I stand. This is where the church stands in this issue. We are not condemning the theology behind it. We're not even condemning the titles. We're simply saying they're not helpful at the time being, and they can lead to more confusion than anything else.
That's important in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whenever we engage with people, you think Protestants and Catholics have been divided for 500 plus years at this point, and we use language differently.
Yes.
And so if you're engaging with a Protestant or somebody else, you can choose to insist on your language, which you know that they may misunderstand,
Right.
or you can sort of use the language you think that they'll find most helpful to get to them to the same truth. And it seems to me that the helpful Catholic apologist knows how to do that well.
I agree. And here's the other thing I'll add. That document is incredibly beautiful. And I think people have definitely got to read the whole document.
Yeah, people don't read these documents anymore, it seems to me.
They don't read them
We
anymore.
watch shorts on Instagram, and that's it.
Yeah,
Maybe this video.
Right. And if anything they take from this video that they're watching right now, go read it.
Yeah.
Pull it up right now. Read the whole document. It is beautiful on Mariology and on biblical veneration, period. It is a very well-written document.
Thank you, William. Your URL for people to learn more about you.
patristicpillars.com. Loved being here, Matt. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Thank you very much for watching that Pints with Aquinas clip. If you like it, do me a favor, click like and subscribe, and please offer a Hail Mary for the work of Pints with Aquinas and all the people we're trying to reach. God bless you.